Hello there, welcome. Great to see you here. Welcome to this AI Plan A training for IT. 1 hour CPD. Really excited to be sharing this. This is going to be a great training. Of course, they're all great, but this one's really good. Okay, so look, two things here. This is a CPD training. Towards the end, not at the end. Okay, no cheating. I'm going to share the CPD certificate QR code. Going to look a bit like this. Click that, put your name and email. You'll get your CPD certificate. It's all automated. This technology is actually quite good. Yeah, it's really good, not quite good, really good. I've also got a CPD on how you can automate your CPD trainings. Feel free to watch that. It's a bit meta, but it's really exciting. For me, AI is part of automation to remove things that human beings no longer need to do. That's the way I view it. It's a long journey, and that's how I look at AI. Why do the stuff that we don't need to do? Let's do some better stuff, yeah? So that CPD certificate is part of that. Click the QR code, you'll see it, not at the end, towards the end, somewhere along the presentation. But hopefully you enjoy this presentation, watch it. Here's the other QR code. Click this one. It's a little quiz, 8 to 10 sections. 8 to 10 questions. Take the quiz. It's there to help you clarify your thinking about your AI strategy. We'll then send you some resources, and I'm going to break that down as well, how we can help you go through that phase. We'll send you the decks, the information, all of that stuff. So we can help you as an organization to deal with the AI challenge. And it's an interesting challenge. Again, this training is focused primarily for IT. And if you're not in, I'm going to break all of this down. So look, I'm going to go through some really great stuff. Definition of IT, how it breaks down into these 3 elements, and what you need to be aware of for each of these elements. I'm going to, and then also, this is probably going to be the most controversial thing here, right? I'm going to give you a warning. I'm going to talk about why AI is different to the current IT. And look, think about this. Before, it's probably last 40 or 50 years, but thought experiment. Before we had computers, we didn't have an IT department, right? With some, I don't know what they called it, procurement or resource, HR facilities. But now most companies have an IT department, right? Why? Because computers got invented. We need to perhaps start thinking about AI in a similar fashion. And this is why I share along in this training how the differences are in its primary goals, the way we look at the budgets, the role of data, what each of those departments means if it fails. So if IT fails, the business stops working. But if AI fails, one of its major failures is hallucinations. And by the way, hallucinations is a feature, it's not a bug. Okay? So, but that's what business guys would say is an AI failure. So there's differences on those. And hence, at the end, my conclusion is AI is a different mindset, different function to standard IT. It's not better or worse, but I'm going to talk you through all of this. I'm going to break it down for you. This is going to be a bit controversial, so you might even get upset. It's what they call probably a trigger warning, right? Okay, remember, this is a free CPD. Where you found it, feel free to share it. Share it with your colleagues, your other IT guys, non-IT guys, whoever you like. No worries, right? That's why we do it. We want you to share this. This is us. We're the AI Now Academy. Again, I'm gonna point this out a couple of times. Free quiz. Take it. Scan the QR code. Absolutely free. answer 8 to 10 questions, get some great resources. This is the way I think about AI. Growing up, we used to have this program on TV called Tomorrow's World. A lot of stuff, mobile phones. I don't think they predicted the internet actually, but there's a great prediction on mobile phones. Yeah, we're going to have devices. In fact, a lot of this stuff we have around us, we're sort of oblivious to it. If we sit there, think back about it, we've actually got, the future is turning up very fast. It's actually here. It's here now. AI is now. So when you get into that mindset, hopefully it puts a little bit of a smile on your face. And I know things are a little bit challenging. Yeah. So here's a table of contents. This is what I'm going to go through. I'm going to do a quick introduction. I'm going to go through the why, the what, the how, and the action plan. What I believe everybody's primary action plan should be, AI plan now, and why it's there, and how I came about with it, how I came up with the idea. So I'm going to break all that down for you. So here's a quick introduction. So this is me, Dil Gujral. I'm the chief trainer at AI Now. My job is to deliver trainings and organize the training department. We do trainings for corporates, organizations. We focus on a particular segment, and I'm going to break this down for you, where I believe you can get the best return for the lowest risk and the lowest investment. That's what we're focused on. We're an AI training company. We came up with the idea of Plan A, and I'm going to show you how. So, as I evolved my thinking on Plan A, and I thought, look, we need to break it down into sort of 3 sections. So that's why there's a trilogy on this. It's the same training, but from different points of view. This one is totally focused on the IT department. So, if you're not in IT, please watch this, because this will have some interesting ideas for you, and share it with your IT guys. If you are in the IT department, share it with your other IT guys. And it's supposed to be thought-provoking, a little bit controversial, a little bit thought-provoking. We focus on training people in business as usual departments, but there's a reason why we got there. It's how talking to AI led us to this conclusion. Sorry, talking to IT people in IT department led us to this conclusion. Yeah. There's 3 versions of this, looking at it from 3 different points of view. We're looking at it from the management point of view, from the IT guys' point of view, and then from the training guys or the L&D, human resources, from their point of view, seeing what they need to do with AI. And I'm going to break all of it down for you. So let's, in the current situation, we talk about why everybody thinks AI is an IT problem. And I'm deliberately using that word, problem. That's how a lot of people are thinking of this. We then have a complication. There's actually a difference between IT as it currently exists and AI. And it doesn't mean it's wrong or it needs reorganization. It's just the way we think about it. We need to understand how we think about the differences. I went through a little bit summary there. Then we come up with the question, how do we deal with AI as an organization? And that's where I came up with the AI Plan A idea. And that's what I'm sharing with you in this training. It's a really brief training. Just 1 hour. Remember, I've got 3 versions of it. So watch all 3. Probably have a little blog by the time you finish this. So watch it, share it. Absolutely free. I'd like to have your thoughts and feedback on what I'm saying. Gonna go through the why in a minute. But in the meantime, take the quiz. So, welcome back to this section on why. Quick reminder, why everybody thinks, this section is going to deal with the question why everybody thinks AI is an IT problem. And yes, I'm deliberately using that word problem. I'm going to explain why. Just a reminder, start your journey. We've got some really great resources. Take the quiz, absolutely free. Helps you crystallize your thinking as well. So that's what it's there for. Scan the barcode. So in this section, I'm going to talk about why. What's the current situation and why everybody thinks AI is an IT problem. Yes, I am saying the word problem here. Okay. Here's the question. And this is probably not being thought of enough in your organization, which is how do we deal with AI as an organization? It's quite hard to get your head around because what we've almost got, and this is an analogy that seems relevant when you think about it. Imagine a time before we had electric, and then electric gets invented, yeah, and suddenly you've got all this stuff that works from electric. I mean, look at the world around us. Almost everything works on electric, right? We didn't have electricity, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Might not be quite in the dark ages, but you know what I mean. So this is a little bit of a case study how I discovered AI Plan A, and I'm going to keep going on about it because I sincerely believe this is the way. This is something everyone's ignoring or they don't realize it, and it's the idea that will get you the biggest return for the least investment. And everybody talks about we're an AI company, but they don't really get their heads around this. So I'm going to keep going on about this. So what's the AI challenge? This is based on an actual conversation with an actual IT manager. I won't name them, but this actually happened. Yeah, this is what triggered everything off for me. I had a call from an IT manager, sort of small mid-sized company, really well-known brand. If I told you about it, you'd recognize it, right? And they said, I'm not going to identify them. They said, look, Dill, 6 months ago, I got told to do something with AI, right? And I'm 5 months through it, and everything we tried has failed. We don't know what to do, right? We've set up tiger teams, we've had working groups, and that's fading out. Yeah, so what do we do about it? The management are aware that we need to get AI into our company, but we don't know how. And the truth is, you can't really avoid AI. I mean, it's everywhere. It's on LBC, it's on BBC, and it's got there so fast, it's unbelievable. There's a reason for that, and I go through it in the L&D version of this training, because I've split it into 3. It's called Gartner Hype Cycle. It's how technology works. It goes, but this stuff's gone through really fast. And I was around in the .com boom. So this is what I'm basing my experience on the .com boom. Yeah. Except this one's more fun. I'm going to say that, right? Okay, look. This is my view on what the AI strategy for IT should be. They should do what they do exactly right now. Don't build AI, buy AI. And I've been talking to a lot of IT managers, IT directors. And when you think about how IT deal with how IT currently do IT, they simply buy IT. So they should apply the same principles for AI. Don't build it, buy it. And the important thing is, make sure you've got 24/7 support. I'm going to go through why. Shortly, you'll understand. Because AI has a special feature called hallucinations. Once you understand it's a feature, not a bug, it's quite hard to get your head around that, right? Then you'll realize why you need 24/7 support. Yeah? Okay, so what is AI? Everybody talks about it. What is it, right? How do we think about it? So this is the way I like to think about AI, and I break it down. Something about eating the elephant in small chunks, yeah? So, simply put, most people are aware AI is just hardware and software. That's AI, right? Set of hardware with software running on it, that's AI. But let's break it down a little bit more, right? So I break it down into 3 tiers. and I talk about the risks and the rewards and a comparative breakdown of what we've got. So this is the way I think about it. So firstly, you've got simple tools. These are the apps you can sit there, use, ChatGPT is one of them. And by the way, ChatGPT is not AI. AI is much bigger. You're obviously realizing it. You've got the simple tools. Stick something in, you get the answer back, bingo, right? And then you have slightly more complex tools. These are your chatbots. You could sit there and create a chatbot, I was going to say over a weekend, but you could do it in half an hour now, right? I've actually got a training that shows you. It'll probably take you slightly longer if you're not familiar with the app, but using a standard off-the-shelf app, you might need the paid version. You can actually create a chatbot, and it's quite impressive. I created a really impressive one. Even I was gasped in February this year. And this is February 25. So this stuff is moving at a fantastic speed. Look, okay. You've got simple tools, you're getting complex tools, which you can manage and deal with if you're into that stuff. And then you've got the real complex AI systems. I define AI systems as, these are your agentic AI. This is the stuff that runs on its own. You don't need humans running it. And it's the complex AI, right? So this is the way how you sort of get your head around it. Now, each of these has a different risk-reward scenario. So, with the AI simple tools, it's lowest cost, easiest to do, and the highest return. So, they're almost a no-brainer, right? You're going to have a go at these things. Just do it for fun, do it for the learning, right? Then you've got complex tools, right? These will probably take a bit more investment, and it's just not investment in money. They might not be that expensive. It's more the investment of time and maintenance and keeping them up and having a plan for when they go wrong, right? So you've got the more complex stuff. The results are slightly slower and the risk is higher than the simple apps. Yeah. So that you've got to think about investment, results, and risk. That's the way I think about it. So we're breaking this stuff down. And then you've got the real, you call it the fun stuff, you call it the complex stuff, however you want to phrase it, right? You've got the real monsters, right? It's not really a monster, but real power stuff, right? This takes, to do it right, everybody, you'll see a lot of media stuff saying, yeah, you could do it on your own. I don't think you can. I think you need to have, if you're a business, you need to think about it properly, invest in it properly. The results will be slower. And because it's almost bespoke software that's being built for you, your risks will be higher. Okay. So think of the 3 tiers, and each of those, you've got to think of your investment, your results, and your risk. And that gets you a framework for thinking about this stuff. And got the rocket ship at the bottom. Everybody wants to be on the rocket ship. But, going back to when they initially went to the moon, rockets do explode. So bear that idea in mind. I think that's quite a good analogy. Right. So I'm going to go on to the what next. So, welcome to this section on the what. I think I've just woken up. Sorry, it's a bit naughty. What's the difference between IT and AI? And just a quick reminder, if you haven't already done so, click the QR code, take the quiz. These QR codes are magic now. Everybody seems to be using them everywhere. It's a technology that's been around for a while. Okay. The complication. What's the difference between IT and AI? Right. So, one of my previous careers was working in IT. So, I think about this. If I was an IT manager or an IT director, it seems that IT is a bit of a poison chalice. What do I mean by that? If things go well, you don't get a pat on the back. You're just doing your job, right? Immediately they go wrong, you're going to get blamed, right? It's probably what they call a don't accept point for humans. They get used to everything going okay. We don't appreciate the tech. And look, I'm just as guilty with this stuff as anybody else. I've got a friend who's a few years older than me, and you know, when our laptops go wrong, or when we're sending an email and the hardware doesn't work, or the tech goes wrong, we get a little bit frustrated and we're about to throw it out the window, right? We've all got to that stage. I was talking to a friend of mine and he said, well, look, or it might be a YouTube video actually, and the chap said, you know, in the old days, you had to retype the whole damn thing, you know, or when they're typewriters. They had to retype the whole damn thing. You couldn't just make an edit. You have to print you have to make copies, they're carbon, but you know, it depends how far you want to go, right? So you had to redo everything. We sometimes don't appreciate the world we live in, you know, and myself included. So, and this happens in work. IT is a bit of a poison chalice. When it goes wrong, the sweat turns on, right? You got to get it fixed. When it goes right, no one gives you a pat on the back. That seems to be the world we live in. And what do I mean? Look at the examples recently. You've got Marks and Spencers, you've got Jaguar, you've got NHS. They've all had IT problems. So the two big things that I recently had a chat with an IT director, and he said, look, the two main things are security and AI. And they're almost contradictory to each other. So if you're an IT manager, an IT director, or if you're looking at IT's job is to make sure your business keeps working. It's a different mindset, different discipline. It's a different way of doing things than doing AI. And I'm going to break this down for you in as much detail as I can. So what does IT actually do now? If you look at any IT department, IT is not a build function, right? So, you know, you get, everybody thinks IT is full of techies, right? They build this technology. They actually don't. It's not their job to build it. It's their job to make sure it keeps working. It's more of a keep the show on the road function, right? So they're not there to build technology. That's done by the tech companies. They're there to buy stuff that keeps working and keeps you going. Get rid of the old stuff because it phases out. Make sure your systems are up to date, and make sure your company keeps functioning. That should be the IT's function. Yeah. It buys and manages hardware and software providers. That's its job, right? And once we start to understand it this way, we're going to approach things differently. You would rather have a business that keeps working, all its software and hardware is up to date, and there's a phrase for this, they call it bleeding edge technology. You want to be careful when you're putting bleeding edge technology. You want it contained. As it says, as the name suggests, bleeding edge technology makes you bleed, right? It cuts you. So be careful of this. Understand that concept. And here I'm going to go into it, break it down further. So IT versus AI. Once all the stakeholders in a business understand these ideas, hopefully you begin to think slightly differently. And this is what I'm trying to convey to everyone. Okay, so I'm going to split it down into 5. What are its primary goals? How do they treat budgets? What role does data play in all of this? And what happens when there's failure? And the 5th one is management. Okay, how do we look at the management of this? So on this side, I've got standard IT function. I would say before everybody said AI is your problem, right? Just pretend. And believe it or not, that's only about 3 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So IT's function is to be efficient. Do the same thing, but faster and cheaper if they can. Keep your budget in control. I'm going to come on to the budget. That's its primary goal. Make sure things keep working, make them faster, and if they can, do it cheaper, or keep a handle of the costs. AI has a different function. its function is to create an advantage, a competitive advantage, by using the AI technology, right? Different functions, if we think about it, different goals, yeah? Next item, budget. Now, IT is usually seen as an operating expense. Predictable, we know what the budgets are, it's going to cost us this is a line, and we've got to try and squeeze it or contain it. That's probably the way management looks at it, right? What's our IT budget? How much is it going to cost? It's not seen as an investment, right? It's seen as an operating expense. And I talk to a lot of IT managers, and sometimes they try and do stuff that turns it into a profit generating center, help make profits. So they use the technology to create value for the company. That was okay when they were looking at various software, but AI is not that. AI is different. AI is an investment. You're going to have to invest money, and the returns are variable, and it's experimental. Well, I'm going to break that down as well. So you've got a spectrum of AI. Look at your current IT as it's an operating. You need it, you need to pay for it, and you need it to keep the show on the road, keep working. AI is more of an investment play, and you do need to invest, because otherwise you're going to get left behind. So that's if you think of it in budgets. Now, there's a huge phrase which data is the new oil, as they keep talking about it, right? So IT's function, traditional IT, is store the data, keep a record of what's going on, make sure it's safe, make sure it's not lost, and make sure it's accessible. That's the traditional IT function, right? In AI, data plays a different role. AI uses data to fuel a new project, to fuel the growth, to fuel the advantage. So yes, your company will have data, it's going to use it differently. So hopefully you can see the differences. You've got storage, traditional IT. AI is going to use the data you've got, run analysis on it, and help you create something magic in the future. And they're different roles. I'm going to keep saying that phrase, right? So, failure. What happens if they're failure? If IT fails, your business fails. I just showed the example of 3 quite big organizations, very big organizations, in fact, where they had IT problems. Now, if those guys can't keep up, the rest of us are in trouble, right? So get IT to focus on keeping the show on the road. That's its job, right? No IT, probably no business, or the impact is huge, right? So that's what happens when IT fails. Now, AI will also fail. It's technology. Totally guarantee it, right? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Anything that can't go wrong will also go wrong. Now, there's a bigger problem in AI, and it's called hallucinations, right? Yeah, I made a joke on LinkedIn saying, well, you don't even have to take drugs to get hallucinations now, right? So I couldn't resist. Hallucinations are actually a feature. It's not a bug. People don't understand this term correctly. An AI system is supposed to hallucinate. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're writing a marketing email. Yeah, you've come up with something, and you feed it into an AI system, and you go, give me 5 or 6 other versions of this. Make it more punchy, make it more professional, or make it more marketable. Target it towards my target audience. Literally, you feed in one headline, it'll go, here's another 5, or another 7, or another 11, as many as you want, right? That is a function of hallucinations. It's creating that stuff. This is why a lot of times when you ask an AI a question that has a definitive answer, a historical fact, it gets it wrong. Everybody's used to using Google search as a search engine, and they think the AI is the same. It's not the same. You've got to try and get this concept into your head. Google has a more or less consistent answer. If I search for it, you search for it, you're going to get a consistent answer, or a bunch of websites that probably map onto a consistent answer. Whereas if you search, put something in AI, your answer is going to be different to mine. And in fact, I demo it every day. Literally, you could put the same prompt in, press the button 3 times, and you're going to get a different result each time. So look, that's hallucinations. Now, the key thing with hallucinations is, if you've got an external facing system and it hallucinates and it gives wrong advice to your customer, you are legally liable for that. So remember that difference. That's what I would classify as an AI failure. Not that it doesn't give you an answer. Worse, it gives your customers a wrong answer, which you become legally liable for. And there was a super interesting case about a huge consultancy that did a really chunky report in Australia. I mean, I won't name them, but they were doing a report into AI, and AI had made up the stuff at the bottom, the references. And we've all heard about legal cases being made up by AI and the lawyer getting into trouble with the judge. So look, that's hallucinations. Remember, it's a feature, it's not a bug, but we don't understand how to use it. We're not getting used to it. We haven't got used to it yet. So, management. Traditionally, you've got AI being managed with a chief information officer or a CTO, whatever the title is, right? Their job is to make sure your company keeps working, right? Now, you've got to think about an AI role is different. And I have met directors who can do both, but they've had a background in AI. They haven't done just IT. They have a deeper understanding of AI models and so on, right? I've met a few of them. They can do both. Normal IT directors can't, because they don't have the AI background. And in fact, I don't think you should have the same person doing the same role. It's a different mindset. It's a different set of objectives. If you want your business to succeed, you really want to have a different AI person. And yes, all right, it's going to be difficult. But a chief development officer or an AI strategist will have different focus. And that's what you need, really. Again, I'm going back to time before we had IT. We then had to create an IT department. It's a similar thing going on here. Okay, now I'm going to go on to the how. So, welcome back to this section. This is the how section. If you haven't taken the quiz, take that quiz. There you go. There's the QR code. Just a quick reminder. Now, in this section, we're going to talk about how IT should deal with AI. It's the how, the question, right? Not the question of life, the universe and everything. Probably that'll get answered by AI as well. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. Okay, how should IT deal with AI? And this is my experience of Excel as it came about. When I started working, we'll call them spreadsheets. I call it Excel as a generic term. It's actually about spreadsheets, right? So a little after, or as I started work, you had spreadsheets come around, right? Just before that, you didn't have spreadsheets. So it's at that phase. In fact, one of my first jobs is where I first use spreadsheets for work. Yeah. I think we had them in college. I can't quite remember, but I found a really great use case for them. Okay. So stage one, we had spreadsheets. Everybody's thinking, great, I can automate my work, right? I don't have to write stuff down. I can use spreadsheets. Magic. And then it got interesting. I got taught by someone how to automate spreadsheets. And it was good. I used to be able to do, in one scenario, I was doing 4 hours work in about 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Don't tell them. Actually, they're probably aware, but they just couldn't care. So once you learn automations, you understand it's pure magic, right? You can automate a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people who look at Excel and spreadsheets and things. They understand some of it. They don't understand the full power of some of the spreadsheets, some things that can do. Right. So you get automations and it's usually built by power users, what they call power users. People who do not work in IT, who are almost self-taught, learn Excel or been sent on courses, and they start to create more and more automations. I'm particularly talking about macros rather than just the functions. Excel is an example. They got VBA. It's a very complex language behind them. And now what they use is Excel is used as a front end, and people throw Python at it. It's another step up. So it's even going on today, right? The problem occurs when the person who's built the automation leaves. Yeah. And I've been in all three stages of this. And the third stage is when the person who's built the automation leaves and you've got an out of control system and you're thinking, how on earth do we manage that, right? Or when your systems are being updated. So I've seen it in a number of times where the person left, the company moved from one type of spreadsheet to another, from Lotus 1-3 to Excel, when they also migrate their systems from one version of Windows to another. All this goes on and it creates extra headaches. So that's the Excel experience, I would say. That's a great lesson to learn and understand this is going to happen again. History is a great teacher. It's a great lesson to learn. This I'm predicting is going to happen in AI. It'll happen hopefully it doesn't happen in your organization, but I can see this happening again and again. Okay, so how do we deal with AI? And I've put together this risk return matrix. It's a 3x3 little table. And here I talk about, on the top, you've got, as I went through before, AI apps, chatbots, and you've got the really rocket ship stuff, AI agents. Going down on the side is you've got individual productivity. So these are individual people using the apps, just like spreadsheets, right? That example. Then you get it slightly more complex where teams are using these apps. And then further down where you got customer facing stuff, and you can get this 3x3 grid. It's a great way of thinking about it. So simple apps, you've got more complicated chatbots, and then you've got really rocket ship stuff right on the end. Working downwards, you've got, there we go, you've got individuals, people who just use it. So if I'm in the marketing department, I want to create a bit more fantastic headline. I'm going to say, all right, give me 5 versions of this, pick the best one, and I'm still in control, right? You've got then teams. So there's a training on YouTube about how to create a HR assistant that works 24/7, but it's for your team. It's internal only. And here's where the risk gets really big. This bit is risk. You see this scale, it's going to red. When it's customer facing, that's the riskiest, right? If you've got something customer facing and it's built on AI, it's going to risk your reputation. You're not in control of it, basically, right? So just be aware of this sliding scale. Again, on the top, simple, complex, and really complex. And the best, this is where we train stuff. We think in our organization, at AI Now, we think the biggest bang for your bucks is training individuals on apps, maybe looking at the team section, maybe looking at slightly varying into chatbots and automation. But that's your sweet spot, yeah? It's where you get the highest return for the lowest risk. It's all internal, not customer facing. We don't build AI chatbots. We're just saying those apps are already built. For a little bit of subscription, you can get a license. You could try them out. Your staff just need a bit of training. This is the whole thing about how we focus. Hence, I'm not here to sell you a chatbot. I'm not here to sell you a customer application and say, it's great, you can get rid of all this stuff. This is the other side of AI that I think everyone's missing in this. We'll call it a revolution, if you like, right? So I'm going to go through the adoption spectrum. This is the other way to think about it. Look, you've got the simple apps, right? Ready to use for immediate productivity, minimal investment, returns quite good for your employees, not much risk, because they're still going to vet it. They're going to use the output. The output's quicker. The output's fantastic in some cases, but they're still there to gatekeep it. Yeah. Next level, you've got chatbots and automations. Now, this needs customization. It takes more resources. The investment's greater, not only in license fees, but customizing it, and more importantly, maintaining it over time and making sure you got support when it goes wrong. Yeah, that's important, because a lot of these tools, a lot of these chatbots and automations have various systems, that 2, 3, 4, 5 systems that connect together, and these systems are being updated. One tweak and the whole thing breaks, and you've got to redo it. So those are your complex tools, right? This is what I call your chatbots and automations. Complexity is increasing, investment's increasing, and the risk is higher, right? And again, you got the super stuff, right? Super as in more complex. This is your agents. This is specialist AI being built. This is the stuff that everybody is trying to sell to the corporates. Yeah, build this chatbot, we'll build your system, so on and so forth, which is fair enough. And some are really great, and they are improving. There's no doubt about it. They're improving really fast. But the important lesson here is, don't build these things in-house. They're not good to build it in-house, because you're not going to be able to support them. When the people who build them leave, how are you going to maintain them? And most importantly of all, if you haven't got people totally working on this stuff, on that particular technology, they're not going to be able to keep it up to date. So that's very important. It's just a case of how we mentally handle the spectrum, and breaking it down into 3 sections is brilliant. Gives you a chance to get your head around it. Okay. Now, here's a risk factor for business. Let me move this out of the way. Think of the risks and rewards and considerations. So you've got individual productivity, right? So this is why you should not ignore AI, actually. It's what they call shadow AI. Basically, if you don't give your individual employees AI that they can use, and it's a corporate version of it, your company's data is leaking onto the internet. It's what they call shadow AI. We know this goes on. People have got their own laptop. They're getting their work stuff. Even if your work laptop is not allowing an AI, they're getting that information and feeding it into chatbots. And there's loads of examples of where companies' intellectual properties leaked into the AI. All this stuff where people are talking about themselves personally, their data is being used to train models. It's out there. So if you as an individual is overusing and oversharing, it's a great way of thinking about it, with your AI, with your ChatGPT, they are using that data for training. So don't be surprised when your confidential stuff ends up on the internet. It's going to happen. It's even worse for a business, because you're going to run foul of your customers' data ending up on it. So that's the important thing to watch out about shadow AI. Returns are unclear, but it's the easiest step. Yeah. And in fact, because the investments can be so low with some of these apps, start. And here's an example. Look, in the current world, we use 4 or 5 apps. We use email, probably use a spreadsheet, probably use Word and a PowerPoint and a browser. That's your top 5, right? That's it. We spend most of our time doing that. You might get WhatsApp, 5 or 6, 4 to 5 apps, tick the box for everyone. Similar principle with AI. If you can get your individual staff to train on 4 or 5 apps, their productivity rockets. In fact, I don't think we as human beings can handle more than that. I mean, look, when I'm jumping, I usually use Zoom. And when I'm jumping on, what's the other one? The Teams or the, I can't even remember the damn names, right? If you use a different version of it, Teams or the Google or the other one, I forget where the button is and I'm looking like a complete idiot, right? Because you build up habits, and that's important to understand. The most important thing to understand is how human beings work. Next, we get team operations. So these are teams that form a team. Yeah, let's build this AI. We've seen this technology. It's lack of... Yeah, it's fine when the person building it's there. But when they leave, as with my Excel example, you got problems, right? You got issues of vendor lock-in. You got the enthusiastic builder doesn't really understand how IT works. How you need to protect data, you need to check your system, how to document it, all of those. So be careful there, right? And it is evolving complexity. So when you're letting your teams loose on AI stuff, you need to understand what's going on. And there's stuff they don't understand because they're not IT people. So as someone in a IT department, I would make sure that you guys have some oversight into what they're doing with complex systems that they're building as a team. They might not like it, you might not like it, but to protect your company, you need to ensure that there's some oversight there, right? Now, when you get, and by the way, the internal productivity, the team operations, we're looking at internal only, right? This is an external, not customer facing. So you can make your team aware. Look, you set up a chatbot, it's automated. You say, look, this is an AI output. It could be wrong. That's fine. It's okay for that. You can as long as they're aware, that's fine. You could probably slightly get away with saying it to external customers. I wouldn't risk that because where there's a blame, there's a claim, as they say, right? So, when we come on to customer facing, this is the most riskiest. This is what everybody seems to be selling, but this is where you've got the most risk. You've got the most risk of hallucinations. It's going to have problems on your brand. You're legally liable for what the AI says. And it's going to upset customers. I'm literally talking to people saying, there's an AI and it was rubbish, right? And customers don't quite think about it. Well, some answer is better than no answer, right? I can see that from the screenshots, this AI is hallucinating. It's not asking the right question. It's getting stuff wrong. And the customer's getting upset, right? So you need to be aware of that. And don't forget, customer-facing chatbots work 24/7. And if it goes wrong, you need to be able to pull the plug or correct it or stop what's going on. Hence the comment on 24/7 support. All right. So back to AI Plan A. Hence, this is why I've split it into 3. There's three elements of your organization that need to think about it. This one is focused purely on the IT guys, right? If you're in the IT department, watch this, share it with your friends. If you're not in the IT department, watch it, share it with the IT guys, right? This is why I've split this into 3. Our whole emphasis on AI now is we're at the business as usual, guys. We're in the bit You've got your sales, your marketing, your HR, your finance. And I'm going to, and again, as I said, the whole thing of us is we want you to have the best returns for your investment. That's why we focus on the apps and mini chatbots now, because they're getting easier actually. Internal area, and we just believe a little bit of training with a little bit of investment will get you magic results. And it's the element no other companies are focusing on. They all love training the management. Hang on, where's it? Wrong way around, right? Everybody loves training management, right? And they're training management to do all these chatbots, all the super stuff. No one's focusing on thinking about your return, your risk, and how you get the biggest bang for your bucks. This is where we're focused. This is why we do training for the business as usual departments on existing apps. We're not going to train them to build new stuff. Might do a little bit, right? But it's because it's fun. Right, I'm going to discuss the now in the next section. So welcome back to this. We're going to look at this section on now. Just a reminder, take the quiz. I don't keep going on about it, but some really great resources. We should have a workbook ready for you to download, print out. All of that stuff is available if you take this free quiz. Takes 2 minutes. You get a great action plan, and I'm going to go through what you want to do now. So let's get going. I've really enjoyed this training. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is. I've been talking about how IT should treat AI in my previous career when I used to work for IT. And I promise it wasn't me, it was the help desk guys, but this is a great little inside joke that they used to have. And it was, you know, when you're in a field and you've got an obvious question, you have a propensity to say, this guy's being a bit silly, right? So they used to have this phrase called ID10T, and I promise it wasn't me, it was the help desk guys. They'd say, oh, we've got code ID10T. And basically, if you read it the right way, they're calling the users idiots, right? So look, name of the story is, I don't want you to be the ID10T. And I've thought about this, and this is the approach we've come up with. Instead of saying Intel inside, idiot outside, I think the way to think about AI is inside the computer. The actual intelligence is outside. We're here to try and help you use your actual intelligence. That's where we're trying to get to. I'm very positive about AI and how it's a great tool for human beings, for us humans. I'm not on the negative spectrum. It might wipe us out. I don't know, but I don't like to think about that idea. I know we've all seen the sci-fi films. So look, again, this is quite a favourite phrase. AI inside, actual intelligence outside. Just remember that. So we go through the ASK system. This is why I've been asking you to scan the code, take the assessment. It's a brief little quiz. Take the assessment. We're going to send you free strategy. This video is part of that strategy. This CPD training is part of the free strategy. It's the AI Plan A strategy. Every organization can execute this. Not much cost. It's the thing they should be doing first. All the other things being followed afterwards. And I know it's a counter-intuitive thinking to what all the consultants are saying. But I'm going to stick my neck out. Look, you could do everything else as well, but do this first, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Once you take the assessment, we'll send you our strategy. These videos are part of it. We'll send you a little PDF. We might even bring the booklet out, print version, available somewhere soon. But once you've done that and you decide you want to work with us, we'd love to share our knowledge and our experience and help you go through this Plan A, basically. It's the whole idea of doing this. We're trying to share as much information, knowledge, and thinking as we can. And remember, I promised we'll give you a CPD certificate. So here it is. Scan the code. Put put your name and email, you'll get your CPD certificate. This is part of the CPD training, and we've tried to make this as useful as possible. So send me your comments. I'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch by the code there. Again, do the quiz, send me your comments. And remember, we're here to share knowledge. We're here to share the experience. We're here to give you a free assessment and a free strategy. We just need some more information on how your organization's going about putting AI in. So AI is super interesting. We all need to take part. So just going to leave this up. Actually, I'm going to go back. Remember, if you haven't got your CPD certificate, I'm going to leave this up for a minute. It's quite a simple process. I've also got an automation. So I've said that wrong way around. I've also got a training on how to automate your CPDs. That'll be in the same place as you found this. If you haven't found it, go to our YouTube channel. It'll be on there, right? It's basically, and it's really amazing. Not saying it because I made it. I just love the idea of being able to automate CPDs. I also discuss in there why you should automate your CPDs. If you find that interesting, have a look through it. This is part of that process. It's a bit meta. This is all about getting rid of stuff we as human beings don't need to do in our work lives, that we can then concentrate on doing the stuff that we want to do. So scan that code, get your CPD. You can also get the other CPD, and the most interesting one. Well, they're all interesting. I think the most interesting one is how to automate your CPDs. Let's give you a minute to get that. Hopefully you've got that. So remember, CPD is absolutely free. Click it, name, email, bingo. You should get your certificate by email. And then moving further on, take the quiz. There's the QR code for it. Take the quiz. It's a brief quiz, 8 to 10 questions. Might grow by the time you get this. It's basically a free assessment. This is part of the strategy we're going to send you. This is what we believe every company should be doing in terms of their strategy for AI. They need to engage whole of the company. And the way to do it is get the management on board. Get your IT guys thinking about what they're doing. They don't have to agree with me. I know I've said some pretty controversial stuff on this. Again, don't have to agree with me. But think about the ideas I've shared here. Yeah. And if you'd like to work, we're happy to share our knowledge and our experience. Bring it to your company. So scan the code. Look forward to hearing from you. Love talking about stuff. This is how we evolve our understanding. All the stuff I've shared here, all the ideas, have been through conversations I've had with people. So, with IT guys, literally. So, look forward to it. Take the quiz. Hit me up. Love to share your ideas, your thoughts, and your comments.